beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, and huge apologies for the breaks in signal, well, the complete lack of broadcast this morning. It was an external problem somewhere in London, and to be honest, you haven't missed out on much. We did see Kunyuma very briefly this morning at his kill. This, some of you may have noticed, is not Kunyuma, and we are no longer in the same area as Kunyuma. This is Kunyuma's brother, in all likelihood. Another beautiful young male, and we found him sleeping in this jackalberry tree. He's now looking up into a tree where there were some squirrels that were alarm calling that helped us to find him. And here they've just started calling again. That's the squirrels you can hear now. And such a useful call for us to know and to listen to, because they do so very often lead us to leopard. Now, Kunyuma was lying up in thick bush, just to let you know, so we decided to rather come and follow up on the reports of this leopard who had been seen coming in towards this area earlier this morning, and thankfully the squirrels helped us to find him. Go ahead, Brent. That's affirmative. We're just a little bit further north of the dam now. It looks like quarantine. Why don't you come and join? We're the only people here. So the good news is Brent is nearby, and he's going to come and join in on this beautiful sighting. It's always very interesting to think of what exactly they are smelling when you can see them sniffing about, because their senses are far greater than ours, and you just can't help but imagine what exactly those scents are, possibly with this leopard. It can get quite thick. There's a riverbed running down to our right-hand side, and quite thick vegetation in the general direction he is going. We will do our best, though, to try and stay with him. And there's nothing better than having any of the predators on the move. And that is exactly what we have right here. So, spoiled for choice this morning. This individual's brother was not up too much, even though he does have a baboon kill. He was lying up in some very thick vegetation close to the kill. So not too much was going on, and couldn't resist the opportunity to come and look for another leopard that was going to be potentially on the move, and he was asleep for about 15 minutes in that tree. Excuse me. Before he decided to get mobile. He doesn't look very full-bellied, so his hunger may be driving him on. Nikki, just to let you know, Brent is nearby, so we'll be able to switch between the two vehicles. I'm just going to try and loop ahead of him. And thankfully, I have followed him through this exact area before, so I've got an idea of the terrain. It is open enough for us to loop ahead, which will allow us some great views of him as he approaches us. Negative, Brent. Okay, copy. Sounds good. Well, he's just a few meters in front of our vehicle, and this beautiful golden morning sunlight is certainly making for some incredible footage. Sorry, go again. Well, interestingly enough, I have been a little bit ahead of myself in assuming that it is quarantine male, because apparently there are some viewers that know the leopards better than me, and they've said that it's another young male called Bahuti, I think was the name that Nikki relayed to me. And I was looking at his coats, and it appears that he's got a bit of a dewlap, so a bit of extra skin sagging below his neck and stomach. That was making me wonder if it was actually quarantine. It looks slightly different, so we'll try and get you some more visuals, and that way you'll be able to confirm for us who it may be. And for those of you who are new to this experience, there's quite a few of our viewers who follow these leopards intimately, and a lot of the leopards in this area will even have Facebook pages, so you can kind of get updates on them very regularly, as guides will update on the leopard's Facebook page where they've been and what they've been up to. And with all the pictures and footage that gets posted, it allows people to get a great idea of individual leopards, and people become incredibly talented at identifying them. So there's different things you'll look at when trying to identify a leopard, but the spot patterns are always different depending on the individual leopard. Even judging by his behavior, how he's been looking back at us, he doesn't seem quite as relaxed as quarantine. So apologies for falsely assuming that it was a leopard who we usually do see in this area. And it just goes to show that there is so much unknown, and there's only so much we can presume out here, because There's a lot that goes on without our knowing, and this is a perfect example. He could well have moved through this area many times without us ever finding him. Now, you may be wondering where Brent is. He was going to arrive, and he was just a few meters behind us. But he's decided to head off and try and find something else. So, just keep that in mind. Brent is on the trail of something else that's quite interesting. And Nicky's just relayed to me that there's a lot of banter on Twitter, and there's people trying to discuss and decide who exactly this leopard is, and I look forward to hearing what the final conclusion is. The other great thing for me is that once we do get the final conclusion as to who exactly this leopard could be, Nicky would be able to, and I'm sure a lot of you will, actually provide us with information as to how old he may be and where he's come from. And that is something unique about this area that we're in. There's some great leopard viewing here, and because they get followed so closely, a lot is known about them. Almost sometimes people can know even almost to the day when they were born. I presume that he'll continue in the general direction he had been heading in, which was a westerly direction. He's just cut off a little bit to the north. Hugely confident that he is going to pop out where we're waiting, but there is a chance he does continue along here. So we'll just wait here maybe. Let's see if he doesn't pop up. There's a small animal trail heading towards us that he may come down. If not, okay. VM spotted him, and we got lucky. Well spotted VM. And we're going to have a great view. Look at this. Well, looking at a spot pattern now, I can safely say that it is not hold on. I've got to be careful here, otherwise I'm going to get caught out. No, that is certainly not quarantine. His face almost seems shorter and more almost, what's the right word? He's got a very stubby muzzle. That's not the right word, but he's got a short face and quite a compact face, it looks like, compared to quarantine. And the spot pattern that runs along his whiskers, along the whisker line, is also evidently different to quarantine's. Still a beautiful young male though, and I wonder how young he is. that's as far as VM can pivot, so we are now going to have to reposition again. But because he is quite close to us, I'm just going to wait a moment or two and give him some space, and then we will continue following him. He has just stopped and is moving very cautiously through this area. And this may be because it's an area that he hasn't spent much time in, or maybe he knows there's some potential prey around. It's hard to say. This is Bahuti. Nikki's done a little bit of research, and apparently he was born in August 2012, but apparently there's still a lot of banter on Twitter as to who exactly this is. Excuse me. Well, folks, it sounds like Brent's hit the jackpot, so while we nick ahead of this leopard, why don't we go across to him and see what he's found?
Welcome. Good morning. Brent here. I'll do all the instructions later, but we've got the Nkahuma Pride, unfortunately just north of our boundary, and we've been checking all our boundaries this morning for lion tracks. And unfortunately just north of the boundary. Hopefully they might turn around and come back towards us, but it doesn't look like it, unfortunately, from the way they're moving. And it looks like the whole pride's here. I'm just going to move around the bush so we can see them a bit better. With Mfene Bamba and the other on Twin Dams. At Vuyatela, yeah. The one at Twin Dams was Famba North. Unfortunately, it has been a very brief sighting of the Nkahumas. So, to give you a quick update before we disappear, no one has actually been staying in Nkahumas for quite a while. They've been spending a lot of time in the Manyeleti Reserve to the north of us. But it's nice that they are back in the area. I think there's one more to go through the gap before they all disappear. No, I think that might actually be all of them. Oh, well, at least we got to have a brief view of them. They did look a little bit hungry, but they didn't look in too bad condition, because I know you guys get worried quite often because they seem not to be doing too well at the moment on the hunting front. They said in a pride that size, it often looks like they're hungry because they might eat something small like an impala, so they don't have the lots of fat bellies. But they are back in the area, so hopefully we can keep our fingers crossed that they do cross south onto Vuyatela. But in it, I've got Romeo on camera with me this morning, and we've got a friend, Megan, visiting us from Johannesburg. So just to let you know who's with us, and then obviously you've been with Scott and VM and Nixon Final Control earlier. As much as I would love to sit here and sort of wish the lions back towards us, I don't think it's going to happen, so we'll start meandering on. But at least we did get to see them, even if it was just for a minute or two. We seem to always see them at a long distance at this dam, having a drink and then disappearing. It's getting quite frustrating. Okay, what should we go look for next? Copy that. Okay, so let's see what else we can find, and we hope that this evening they decide to head back towards us. There's a report of male lion tracks, but quite far to the north and east of us, but only of a single male. We did hear lions roar quite a bit last night from all over the place. Okay guys, well, it was a very brief lion view, but still always good to see lions. So we're going to carry on seeing what else we can find. And in the meantime, we're going to cross back to Scott and see what he's got. Over to Scott.
Welcome back, everyone, and so happy that finally some lion have come onto the property, and well done to Brent with all his hard efforts in trying to show you lion this morning have now paid off. And good prospects, even though they may have disappeared, at least they are still close to our property and could come back on at any stage. But in the meantime, we've been following this beautiful male leopard who appears to be a new character on the show. I've certainly never seen him before. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens if he does continue to move. He is, in all likelihood, going to pop out, oh here we go, at a waterhole, and the waterhole often attracts a lot of game, so hopefully we're going to see a little bit of action, and if we're really lucky we may even see him catch something. We've only documented one leopard kill in the 5 months that we've been broadcasting, so we're due for another one, and who knows, maybe this morning is the day that it will happen. Stations, just an update. This young male leopard is now mobile west towards Treehouse Dam from Weaver's Nest. Copy, it's just myself here, so you're welcome to make your way. Oh wow, look at this, there's some elephants in the mix. Just going to try to stop somewhere where you may even be able to get both the elephants and the leopard in the same shot. The leopard is heading towards them. Once he detects them, he'll probably slink away from them to avoid any unnecessary confrontation. But in just a few seconds, you're probably going to see the leopard coming into shot. And isn't this great? There we go. Beautiful. Great work there, VM, on camera. Morning, not copying you clearly, but go ahead. Hey, Greg. Good morning. Welcome to the Low Faults. I'm doing well. That's affirmative. He's mobile towards Treehouse Dam. You're more than welcome to join as a third. Now this is going to be interesting. And again, VM's doing an incredibly good job on camera as we're driving. We moving, the leopard's moving, there's a lot of vegetation around, and he's still keeping you in the loop and showing you some great images as we go. It's tricky now, I'm trying to get into the best position in case any action unfolds with these elephants and him. So I think this may be a good spot to wait. He was heading towards this younger elephant, but may have stopped. I doubt he'll go any further into the bush because that's where the majority of the herd appeared to be. And maybe he's just waiting for them to pass before he continues. Well, if the elephants smell him, they may get a little bit distressed and want to chase him away. So that is something to bear in mind. Even though he doesn't pose a threat to the elephants, they would prefer not to have him around. Well, one thing leopards are incredibly good at doing is disappearing. Copy, thanks, Lex. Well, it appears that finally it's been resolved as to who this leopard is, and it is Bahuti, who was born in August 2012, apparently. He might just be lying up in the bush where we last saw him heading. So we'll just poke our nose in there just to confirm. And it was just yesterday that we were enjoying a leopard sighting with elephants at Bahuti Dam. And there he goes. And now we're getting spoiled with the same action, not even 12 hours later. Okay. It's very thick here, so we're just going to enjoy one last visual of him as he moves past, and then we are probably going to have to do a very big loop around in order to relocate him. but I'm confident we will. The area he's moving for is thankfully not too thick, and we shouldn't lose him, but we do need to possibly do a big loop around to get the next view of him as he passes by. You may be able to hear some rustling and branches breaking. That's some more elephants feeding. So there are more elephants in the direction he's heading in. Thanks, and would you mind just trying to research where the mother comes from? I've got a feeling it might be one of Karula's other daughters, but double check that, please. So Nikki's just doing some research for us and letting us know as much as she can about this leopard, which is really wonderful. And interestingly enough, we already know that his sister was killed by a pride of lions, as well as his older brother. So their family hasn't had good luck when it comes to lions, and leopard will often be killed. Sorry, I just need to help guide a guide into the sighting. Take the northern road. And he is mobile in the Skova towards the dam. Can you see him, Vin?
No.
Huh?
Negative.
So thankfully there's another vehicle arriving here, and I've just told them to take a northern road that runs parallel to the riverbed. And that way we'll be having all our angles covered. But I'm sure he'll be following the small riverbed. Oh, there he is. Will he go up this tree? No. Copy, thanks. That is a road in the Kruger, I think. Thanks. Isn't this incredible news? He's just getting through on the radio. The mother of this leopard we're looking at is Karula, who is the queen of Juma, she's been termed. She is a female leopard that we see more often than any other on this property. And Tundi, the mother of this leopard, was Karula's first daughter, so one from her first litter. She gave birth to Tundi, and Tundi has now given birth to Bahuti, who we're enjoying a great sighting of this morning. Now this will probably be This will probably be the last loop we need to do before we loop ahead to the dam. He is approaching it, which means we may get lucky and see him drinking. Or, even better than that, we may even see him trying to catch something. Because it is getting so dry at the moment, there's a lot of animals relying on the water holes. I did just get a visual of him. He's crossed north through this riverbed, so we are now on the wrong side of the river. And thankfully, though, there's another vehicle there, and that other vehicle will keep an eye on him and keep us updated on where the best place to go would be. Copy. Well done. I will stand by at the dam. Predator sightings when they are available to us, especially when they're of this quality. Predators on the move is the ultimate, because they do spend so much time sleeping daily. Maybe 16 to 20 hours a day they can be fast asleep. So for us to catch them in those little windows of movement, we can consider ourselves very fortunate. Now, is there any food for him? How about our tire looking on that side? Yeah, we're all good. Ooh. You may have heard VM just shout impala with excitement, and there is an impala here at the dam, and maybe this leopard is going to get lucky, but if not get lucky, at least have an opportunity at trying to catch something.
Well, the answer any way like quarantine, you're going to have a good show of impala running away.
I can hear more squirrels alarming here. I wonder if there's not another leopard. Copy that. There's more squirrels alarm calling upstream of the dam here, west of the dam. So I wonder what else it might be here. And this may create the perfect decoy, because the impala is looking towards the tree squirrels that are alarming to the west. They may see another leopard or another predator, who knows? Maybe it's a bird of prey. But they're certainly not happy about something, and neither are the Birchall starlings. And this is an area where leopard do like to hang out. Now, because the impala is looking in the opposite direction, it may allow this Bahuti the window of opportunity to try and catch it as it focuses on another threat nearby, or another potential threat nearby. Andrew, there's a marla here, just on the northern side of the dam, to let you know. Well, this is really exciting. When you're in a current predator sighting and you're looking for another potential predator, you know you're having a good morning. So, we are not going to lose focus, though, on the current leopard, because there is a chance he could try and catch this impala. The impala is already looking towards it, so the leopard may be out of luck. But I just want to try and get into a position where, if anything does unfold, we are in the optimum place to show you everything. And it can be difficult in this area, it's just so thick.
Bolted.
Okay?
The impala bolted.
Oh, did it? Well, it looks like this leopard's luck has already run out, but we'll just wait here and see what the leopard does before we make our next move. What's he up to there, Andrew? Copy. Well, it sounds like he's just sitting down for the time being, so we'll head on over and get a closer look of him. Adam. The squirrels have appeared to have stopped alarming very intensely behind us. So maybe whatever was there has moved off. But they sure were shouting at something. Now we can see and hear the impala alarming. Sorry, it's quite thick, but Vim will do his best to show you the impala. And you can hear that very distinctive alarm call. So this leopard's cover is blown, and it's a pity. Great opportunity just to have one impala to try and catch is almost better than having a multitude of them, because the more they are, the more security they have collectively, as there's more eyes and ears to detect the prey, whereas this impala here was all on his own. It's not looking in the best shape. Oh, that's just because he's got a lot of mud on his lips because he's been drinking recently. He is also covered in flies though, and appears to have some wounds on his chest and his ears. And interestingly enough, yesterday was the first day that I heard male impalas rutting. So it is heading towards the rutting season or mating season, where impalas will compete with one another for territories. And with those territories comes ladies. Now, this could have been one of those males that had begun the rutting yesterday. And I've even found impala that have been killed whilst fighting one another. It's not common that their fights will end or will go to the death, but they can injure one another, and who knows exactly what caused these apparent injuries on his chest and neck. Maybe a leopard got a hold of him, who knows. I wonder where the leopard is, because the impala certainly seems to be able to see it, or detect it. But we can't see it from where we are here. Or at least I can't. Have you got any idea where it is? Let me have a look. Copy, thanks, just got his visual now. So the leopard is now back on the move, which means so are we. Greg for Scots. Just to let you know, we are now heading slightly north and east into the block from Treehouse Dam. Yeah, affirmative, got visual, thank you. Copy. Yeah, very interesting to see him, yeah. And even the other guide just mentioned to me over the radio that he really is sniffing about intently and moving cautiously, and also suggested that maybe he hasn't been here before. But this is a necessary part of a young male leopard's life, to slowly expand, not necessarily their territory, but their area of movement. As they grow up, they will start off lurking around within their mother's territory, and as they get older, they'll start exploring further and further afield, getting chased by males who are dominant in between, and making sure they don't run into any dominant males that could even kill him if they came across him. So it's risky business, but it is life of a male leopard. They do need to grow and expand and move away from their mother's territory. And that makes sense, because if they were to stay in the same area, then they would be inclined to want to mate with either their mother or even their sisters over the years, and genetically that would not be sustainable. Sorry, who was that from? Just got a question through from Hal in Soda. Good morning, Hal, and welcome on board. Hal is interested to know what would happen if he came across Kunyuma or Quarantine, two other young male leopards very similar to this one. And Hal, wouldn't that just be so interesting to know? It's impossible to say. A lot would depend on the specific day that it happens. There's so many variables. Even just the mood of an animal may alter how a confrontation may unfold. But I'm sure there'd be a fair degree of snarling, or possibly they would both just bombshell and run in the opposite direction of one another to avoid confrontation. It typically is what happens in nature. Animals will avoid confrontation at all costs. So unless there's something really worthwhile to fight for, they will avoid fighting. So that's been my experience. But then again, I've never seen two young males from different litters come across one another, and I've actually never ever seen male leopards fighting. So it's something that doesn't happen very commonly, and maybe that's just because I haven't been in the right place at the right time, or it's because it doesn't happen very often because they avoid confrontation. So, good question though, and we can only let our imaginations run wild as to the possibilities of an encounter. Obviously those impala ran off and just smelt a rat before we got an opportunity to go for them. And that is so often the case that prey animals have evolved over thousands of years to escape being eaten by these animals, otherwise they wouldn't be around today. So it is incredibly difficult for all the predators out here to catch prey, not just leopard, but even lion, wild dog, cheetah. All of them will really have to focus and also sometimes have a bit of luck in order to catch their prey. again, I'm just doing a very wide berth now to give him all the space he needs. Very close to a road, and that's going to make our life easier temporarily, and you may already be on that road. Greg, the best access now is to come onto Philemon's cut line, Savage's track junction, further north of where you were initially heading, but you can get to this point via Treehouse Dam. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when you leave them temporarily and lose visual of them, because you know that there's a chance you may not find it again. So that is how I'm currently feeling. A little bit nervous, but it's very open here, so we should manage to find him again. Very close. Got him there at about 1 o'clock on my clock. Well, somewhere in that thick vegetation he is coming towards us, so if we're just patient we will see. Okay, good. Liam's got him. Beautiful. Greg or Gav, did you copy that message? Copy. There's a steenbuck running towards him, and let's see what happens here. So, the steenbuck, which is a very small antelope, started running straight in his direction. I think it has stopped, but you can tell from his body language that he certainly is interested in something, and that something is a steenbuck. I'm not sure where it ended up, but all we can do now is watch closely and see what happens. Morning, everyone.
Morning. Thank you.
Now, for those of you who may have joined more recently, we've been following this leopard for about an hour now, We started off with him sleeping in a tree for about 15 minutes, and that's where we found him. Thankfully, some squirrels helped us to detect where he was. And what's he seen behind us now? And he has been on the move. He's come across an impala so far, but the impala detected him before he could even try and create an ambush. But he is hungry and he's on the move, so let's see what happens with this potential steenbok kill. Judging by his body language now, he may have detected something else, because the steenbok was not in the direction he is now heading in, so maybe he has heard something else that appeals to him more than the steenbok that he saw running towards him. Now you'll notice VM's showing you an interesting angle here. The tail does tell a story, and watch how it twitches as he excitedly tries to approach this prey. How's your morning been? What time did you get in last night? Okay. So you may have heard another vehicle joining us. There are two vehicles in the sighting, and what makes it a little bit different than normal is that there's a lot of my friends on the vehicle next to us, which is wonderful. Now we may reposition. Let's see what he decides to do next. Cool guys, we'll see you now. Thankfully for now, because it is quite open, we will be able to stay on the road and just drive parallel to him for as long as we can. Ooh. Thanks, Liam. Liam kindly warned me that we were heading straight for a tree there, and that would have been embarrassing. I can see him, but again, I don't want to get too close to him and interfere in what he's doing. So please just bear with us as we try and find the best position to show you both the leopard and any potential action that may unfold with regards to hunting. It is tricky in this area because it is so thick. We need to be very sensitive so that we do not either chase away prey or chase prey towards them, basically just to try and not have any influence on what happens here. But when the vegetation is thick like this, it can be tricky, so we just need to slowly go about this. Something that is very important for all of you to understand, though, is that, yes, even though we are making a noise and driving over one or two bushes, if the leopard did not want us to be here, it would simply run off and hide. And they are masters of disguise and camouflage and can disappear in a heartbeat if they want to. So we are not bothering it. If we were, it would let us know and or simply avoid letting us humans find them. There have been people following not only leopards, but all the animals in this reserve for over 50 years now, and they're all still doing well, and that goes to show that we are not impacting greatly on their life to any negative degree. If we were, 50 years of doing it surely wouldn't be sustainable. What a beautiful morning it is out here. And when you've got a leopard thrown into the equation, it certainly makes for a wonderful time. He is maneuvering from left to right, up and down, backwards, forwards, and that's typical of a leopard, especially a leopard that's in a new area, which we are confident is the case here. It certainly is the first time I'm seeing this leopard. Whether or not he's been here before, we'll never know, but he's yet to be seen here in the 5 months that we've been broadcasting since November last year. And great to have a new face and new prospects and interesting dynamics that hopefully we'll be able to witness. For example, by Carl's question a little bit earlier, what would happen if this young male came across the other young males that were born in this area and are used to spending time here? Those kind of interactions are something we can look forward to in the future. Copy, perfect. We can link over to Brent. Well, folks, it sounds like Brent's found some great other action, so let's catch up with him and see what he's got in store for you.
A bit old to be drinking.
Sometimes they're just comforts of gold, aren't they?
Welcome back, guys. We came to check on Kanyuma, and as we arrived, this big herd of ellies started heading down towards the dam. The kill Kanyuma's got is just off to the front of the vehicle, so it's possible the ellies might smell him, so they could chase him around. So we'll see what happens. Oh, some nice little ones in the middle there. Wow, there's still more coming around the back. Let's see how many ellies we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 that I can see. Jason, just go up in front of us here. You see those two elephants at the back? So the kill is in that tree where the elephants are. It looks like they're sniffing, possibly where there might be some blood or whatnot on the ground. So I'm not sure if the leopard's actually in the tree or he's lying up in the Timbuetis where they left him this morning. So we're not going to move any closer to that spot in case they do get excited and start chasing him. Oh, thanks. I just heard from the guys who are watching the Juma cam that the hyena was picking up some leftovers where the ellies are sniffing right now. So there's that big female with that very distinct inverted tusk that we saw yesterday. So we'll do is just have a quick look how much of the kill is left, and then we're going to loop around to catch up with the ellies again on the other side of this thicket. That elephant chasing another elephant behind us. That's what you heard there. Where was the kill, Jay?
It's up there.
That side.
Oh, there it is.
No, it's above us. Not actually that much meat left in it. But you got it? Do I need to go back? Not much meat left on it. Let's go around, and we've had lots of this morning, so let's go follow those ellies for a while. Other pan in front of Gallagher, it's going to shoot around. Watch out there. Hold on. Got it. On this definitely got that, what I like to call a water walk. Sort of get this lumbering gait. Hopefully we can get to the water before them. So bear with me if we're speeding a little bit. Just want to get to the pan before they do.
few names.
Here we go. We managed to get into the spot, and there's that water walk. It's almost excitement as they approach. So the reason they've chosen to come to this little bit of water as opposed to the dam is the dam is getting quite muddy and smelly, and this is actually pumped water, so it's nice and clean. And it's amazing, elephants will drink muddy water, but if they have a choice to drink clean water, they always do. So just in a couple of days I've been back, I've noticed that the Ellies have been digging in the drainage lines a lot more to get cleaner water rather than drinking from the dams that are quite smelly at the moment. The Chamberlain Grove at the little pan in front of Gallagher. Lovely, thanks. The little boy lifting his head at us. Quite interesting, this tiny little baby. Look at him, he's on his knees to get his trunk down to the water. See if he slips in. They almost look so unsteady when they try to bend their knees. down again. Too close. Good girl. So you guys might have heard me talking there. The one cow came very, very close. And just to preempt anything bad happening, just change the tone of my voice slightly. I didn't have to shout, I didn't have to scream, but just get her to move away, realize that she's a little bit too close. Some people do let elephants put their trunks in and smell the vehicle and whatnot, which is all and great 90% of the time, but there will be that 1% of the time where it's not so good. And that, when it's not so good with elephants, can be very, very serious. They are very big and strong animals, and you have to have a lot of respect for them. So rather than let it get too close that there's a situation might happen, I'd rather just change my tone of voice a little bit and ask her to move away. I'm just going to move around so you can see them. Now they've had a drink, they're probably going to move off and start feeding. At least they seem to all have manners today. No one managed to defecate in the water. So we'll stay with the herd for a little bit longer. It's one nice thing about elephants, they're always nice and busy. Oh, we've proper elephant traffic jam on the road. So the bushes are a little bit thicker here, so I'm going to stay a little bit further away. Remember, guys, if you have any questions, you can send them into questions@wildearth.tv or just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. And as it gets dry, these little watering points are going to come busier and busier elephant hubs. Good morning, Kevin from Boston. And Kevin would like to know, do elephants use ear flapping as a form of communication? To a very small degree, yes. Normally, it's a defensive or aggressive posture where they'll raise their heads and raise their ears to make themselves look bigger. But and that's probably the closest it comes in terms of communication. Their ears are more sort of used as their air conditioning device, and have up to 8 liters of blood in their ears. And so the warm blood from the body is pumped into those ears, which are quite thin, and with flapping it cools the blood, and then the cool blood goes back into the body. But more, I would say, from the communication point of view, the elephants use the ears more for sort of posturing. So if they want to look bigger and more intimidating, open up their ears and show you how big they are. They do that to each other as well, specifically if they're about to have a disagreement. But I think that's probably the only form of communication you're going to get from their ears. So the bush is getting quite thick here, so we're not going to follow them further in here. All it would do is annoy them and possibly put us in a situation we want to. And they're a nice, relaxed herd, so we don't want to annoy any of the animals we see. So we're going to let them go on their merry way and go see what else we can find. But there's still some more on the road in front of us. We'll stay with them till they move off into the thickets. Good morning, Ramey. Welcome on Drive with us this morning. Ramey would like to know what would have happened if the little elephant had fallen into the pond. Well, Ramey, he probably would have just got a bit wet. There was an easy way for him to get out on the other side, but if it had been sort of a steeper, muddier thing, the adults would have helped the little elephant to get out. Good morning, Brenda from Pennsylvania. Brenda would like to know why the forest elephants are brown and these elephants are very grey. Brenda, having seen quite a few forest elephants, they also are very grey. They do look quite a lot darker a lot of the time because the soil there is much darker. These elephants spray themselves with a lot of dust and sand. But from a color spectrum, I'd say the forest elephants and the savanna elephants are very similar in color. But being in a dry climate, these guys might seem more gray. But as in my experience, they're very close in coloration. The only major differences that I've seen is in the eyes. Oh, look at the little... See, that's definitely a little boy. Little girls don't behave like that. He's practicing for when he's big and strong. Like most little boys, as soon as he's slightly unsure of himself, he runs back between his mom's legs. So guys, I think the questions I was asking you were too easy yesterday. That elephant that is in shot now, there's a whole bunch of trees, and what that elephant's eating, who knows what's the name of that plant? And I'll give you a little hint. Look at the shape of the leaves. So remember to send your answers to questions at wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. I'll grab a branch for you to have a closer look at now as the ellies disappear. So look at the shape of the leaf is a very good indicator of what tree it is, and it's a hint for the name as well. So I think the questions I was asking you were a bit easy yesterday, so we're going to have to make them a bit more difficult today. Let's move on and see what else we can find. Probably, thanks. Yeah, forward a bit for you there. It's just in the thickets there. A nice. Okay, well, we're going to say goodbye to this old buffalo boy. Apparently there's some interesting stuff happening with Scott. So we're going to cross across to Scott and see what he's got.
Welcome back, and you're about to get a great visual. We're below him, and there's something about being lower than the animal that really does alter the mood of the picture. And this young male has still been on the move. We've been battling to keep up with him, and it sounds like you've all been enjoying a wonderful elephant sighting with Brent. And how lucky are we that we can bounce between the two vehicles, bringing you twice as much content as any other game viewer that is driving through the Sabi Sands today. So this is great. And he has come out into a more open area now, so perfect timing for you to come back to us. He's been going around in circles, sniffing very intently. Speculation as to why he's moving so cautiously is that potentially he's never been into this area before. In the 5 months that we've been filming, we've yet to see him here. That's not to say that he hasn't been here, it just means we haven't seen him, but that is something to bear in mind. He may be on virgin territory, and therefore moving cautiously. He is young and could come across any other threats, other leopards, hyenas, lions, and even us as humans can relate. When you're in an area that you've never been before, you can feel a little bit lost and nervous, so you can relate with them. So that's one theory. The other theory is that simply he's very hungry and wanting to try and find something to eat, and going about that in a very slow and methodic way in order to not try and ruin any potential hunting opportunities. As you can see, he's just to our right, and VM has panned across, but I do want to just try and get ahead of him while he's stationary. because as long as we know where they are, we can assume that he's going to be trying to creep up to them. He was heading straight towards them. I'm fairly certain he knows they're here. But like I did say, it's a very big prey item for a leopard. But a youngster, especially a young boy, may be willing to take a few risks and try his luck. Well, at least we can see the kudu now, and there's a female that I can see, actually two, that are looking in his direction. The wind is possibly in the leopard's favor. It seems to be blowing away from the vehicle, and therefore, oh, there he is, Liam, on the termite mound at 1 o'clock. It's going to be very difficult because it's thick.
Oh, there, I see him.
You got him?
Yeah, it's very...
Perfect, beautiful. So, folks, you can see him there, and I know it's not the best view, but you must understand that he is hunting and we don't want to interfere. And in order to do that, we need to stay a fair distance away. And in this thick vegetation, I'm just going to sit quietly and let VM tell you the story through the camera, and let's just watch and see what happens here.
He's crouching.
There we go. We're quite deep in the block, north of Shibano, Limon Kaplan. Negative. Now you'll notice he's moving quite quickly through this area, and it's because the kudu have moved off. I don't think they detected him. They would have let out a loud dog-like bark, which is their alarm call. But have continued feeding in an easterly direction, and he's now just trying to keep close enough to them to be in contention for an ambush. But it is important to know that they have to be so close to their prey before they burst out and chase them down. And by close, I mean 5 or 6 meters. And where we saw him on the termite mound, he was probably 40 meters away, so far too far off to launch a strike. But look at that. You can see his tail twitching in excitement. And he's still on their trail. No, the kudu's seen him, and you may have heard the bark, and you'll continue to hear it as the kudu move off. They could even keep an eye on him rather than running off immediately into the unknown. The kudu may stay and keep an eye on him and really alert everything in this area to its presence. No luck, buddy. And you can continue to hear the kudu alarm calling. The majority of attempted hunts end in failure, so not uncommon to witness this. And it's just come past very, very close to our vehicle, which is fortunate considering the amounts of great sightings we've already had this morning. It just keeps getting better, and we're not going to be going anywhere, so we'll keep an eye on what he does for the next few moments, and hopefully he'll come across some more prey. Seen them, and I can just hear them alarm calling. And it's the unfortunate thing about being a leopard is that once the kudu started alarm calling, that obviously increased the impala's alertness, and now they, due to being alerted by the kudu, have spotted this leopard long before they may have, had they have not been warned. And it's just another example of how difficult it can be for a leopard. It's not only the antelope that will alarm call, birds, squirrels, monkeys will all shout at a leopard if it's walking past, and that way making it very difficult for them to catch prey, especially if they have
I'm a big fan of that dog.
Okay, so now I'm going to try and get into a shot where we can see both the leopard and the impala in one shot. He's just walking past them and not even looking at them. He knows there's absolutely no chance of catching them because they know of his presence. And as I did mention earlier, they rely on ambush. If it is not a surprise attack with no prior warning, the leopard would have no chance in bringing down their prey. And even when they do launch that strike, they need to be incredibly close to their prey, 5 or 6 meters if they're going to have a chance in catching it. So now basically he's just going to accept that this area is a no-go zone for catching anything, and we'll now have to move on and search for new prey. I'm hoping he's going to come on top of this termite mound. You can, now that we've stopped, hear the impala alarm calling. It's a nasal snort that they let out. Absolutely wonderful, and what a morning it's been. Woke up this morning thinking we'd be spending our time with a different male leopard, and due to the fact that we were spoiled for choice on the leopard that we know is still in a certain area with the baboon kill, but not really performing, so to be here with this male on the move, seeing so much interesting behavior, is, well, it has been a wonderful plan B, and one that I certainly didn't expect. Also the fact that we're viewing a leopard that we've never seen here before, and what he's doing now is opening up an organ in his upper lip called the Jacobson's organ, and this allows them to process scent better. So whatever it is that he can smell there, possibly a scent mark from another leopard, by grimacing and flaring his upper lip, it opens up that organ to process the scent better. There he's doing it again now. And again, wouldn't it be just so interesting to know exactly what information he is reading into there? Who it was, how recently the animal was there. Who knows how in depth the notifications are from these scent marks, but he certainly is taking his time to process all this information. Copy, thanks, Nix. Maybe just get an update from Brent on how he's doing with his plans. There are so many flies buzzing around, but it's keeping us awake here. But what a morning it's been, and I hope you're all enjoying this. I certainly am loving every moment of this drive. The fact that we've got a new kid on the block, one that we've never seen here before, is great prospects and just really interesting. And regardless of which leopard this was, just the fact that we've been able to spend close on 2 hours now, initially watching it sleeping in a tree, and just as we went live, just as the broadcast issue had been fixed, you all managed to see him come down from that tree, and that was a beautiful sight. And since then, to follow him over this huge distance, we've probably moved 3 miles from here, from where we found him. And it sounds like Brent's found himself some more action. So we're not going to go anywhere. We'll stay with this young male, and there is a chance that Nicky will cut across to Bent's, because he could have found himself in some serious action. Copy. First message was a bit misleading. Sorry about that. Well, again, you can see it performing this phlegm grimace. Is a term that is used. And apologies, Brent hasn't found anything very exciting. I just misread the radio chatter. So we're not going anywhere. I'd just like to give all the game viewers an update as to what he's up to. But what I'm also going to do is just pull over so we can leapfrog and allow the other vehicle in the sighting a chance to go ahead and also enjoy some more views of him if they desire. Craig, he's on Rebecca's now, heading south towards Philemon's cut line. You're more than welcome to join. Copy that. Perfect. He has just veered off. So we'll try and loop ahead of him for one last view. So, like I say, he has veered off that road and I'm just trying to loop ahead, but it turns out Brent has found some action and we're going to cut over to him. If I don't see you before the show closes, thanks very much for joining and we'll see you this afternoon.
Welcome back, guys. As you can see, it's been a really, really busy morning here on Juma, and I'm quite sure I don't need to introduce this lady here. So there's actually a herd of impala probably 50, 60 meters from her. But she's not really looking very interested. difficult to see if she's fed or whatnot. See, I knew I didn't have to say which leopard it was, guys. I knew you would all know it was Karula. She's now seen the impala. FM. Brent from Wild Earth. Sorry, Jan, go again. FM. Copy. If you switch off, I'll give you a rev. FM, I'm only stationed here. How's that for you? Forward, back? I just need to make space. There's another vehicle coming in. Let me just loop round. Let's see if we can get it. Tell me when you got a good shot there. What?
Let's go back a little bit. There you go.
Cool.
There's one blade of grass.
We can live with a single blade of grass.
Can you see this mullet?
Sorry?
Can you see the mullet?
That's what I'm looking for. I can, I think, just see the impala. Let's have a look.
Also, Nikki's trying to get hold of you.
Oh, sorry, I turned Nikki down. Nikki, just stand by. No, she's relaxed. She knows they're there, but she's not showing any interest in them. She's watching them, but very relaxed. FM, keep coming. Sorry, next, go again. Sorry, next side, the other radio going very loudly at the same time. Please, can you go again? If she's watching the impala, no real intent, but it's worth. We can stay for an extra few minutes. It's not a trans match at all. she might get up and start moving again. So guys, just to let you know, because of we've just had she looks like she's about to start stalking. So just because we had a bit of technical difficulties when we started this morning, we've just had a group chat and discussion, and since Scott and I are both sitting with leopards, we decided we're gonna extend the drive by a bit. Let's see if they do anything. She's definitely spotted that impala. I can see that impala's bum from here. And she is looking at that impala. So we never know what's going to happen. And we're quite happy to stay with her, and Scott's staying with Bahuti. So we'll just stick with them and see what happens.